Rebuilding Uganda, number 7. Corruption and Public Accountability, October 14, 2025. Fellow Ugandans, for 4 long decades, our country has been usurped by Tutsi invaders. They have held us as hostages by corrupting our political activists, infiltrating and weakening our cultural and religious institutions, demeaning and killing the indigenous potential leaders. The invaders have displayed an unquenchable greed for wealth and land grabbing, seasoned with extreme inefficiency that has destroyed everything they found in our country. That is the national economy, essential services, administration, and physical infrastructures. What began as a promise of fundamental change has instead become a phenomenal story of fundamental decay and destruction. These invaders, parading as NRM regime, have institutionalized corruption, stealing our land, torturing and killing of indigenous Ugandans to become a way of life which is celebrated and rewarded at the very top of power. Every sector in Uganda is bleeding. Looking at the people in the ministries such as that of health services, education, transport and communication, public security, and justice, make one wonder where professional ethics, moral integrity, and a simple common sense went. Negligence, inefficiency, and corruption spill out like lava in an active volcano. Money meant for hospitals is stolen. Funds for schools vanish. Roads are built today and collapse the following day because someone pocketed the money which was for procuring a quality and right amount of construction materials. Even as recently as this week, the multi-million-dollar rehabilitation of Nakivovo Channel in central Kampala business district was contracted to an inexperienced crony to the regime. It failed before it could start. This is not a display of only mismanagement. It is a deliberate theft. Let us be clear. This regime's corruption is not just financial. It is a moral and ethical petrification of the ruling group. It is the theft of our children's future. It is the betrayal of millions of Ugandans who toil daily to pay taxes, expecting services, and hoping for a better tomorrow. It is a crime against the nation. We are witnessing the total privatization of the nation state, which has become a property of Museveni's family and his alien cronies. Government contracts are awarded to relatives, friends, and political cronies. Public funds are diverted into private companies owned by Museveni's family members, ministers, and generals. Public land is grabbed by Tutsi invaders posing as Balaro. Industrial and commercial enterprises were sold to foreigners at peanut prices. The line between public service and private gain has completely disappeared. Those in power conduct state affairs as though Uganda is their personal estate. And yet, when citizens question or expose the rot, they are silenced, killed, arrested, or labeled as enemies of the state. Whistleblowers are jailed, the corrupt are promoted or knighted as honorables when they should be horribles. The Auditor General's reports are gathering dust. Parliament was long time muzzled with millions of shillings as bribes to focus on their bank accounts instead of addressing issues which concern the general welfare of Ugandans. Have members of Parliament cared why teacher training colleges were closed and caused a shortage of teachers in the country? Have they questioned why the remaining teachers now on strike have not received their salaries? Have they expressed concern about the stinking decay of medical facilities and roads in their own constituencies? No. Instead, they are busy building mansions to show off their ill-gotten wealth. Clear example is the Speaker of Parliament. They are also busy snatching millions of shillings into their personal bank accounts. Let us speak plainly. This regime is using brutality, intimidation, and corruption to maintain control of the masses, to buy loyalty, and weaken accountability. Public money is used to fund political campaigns and bribe voters to sustain a network of patronage that keeps one man and his party in power. Billions of shillings are distributed monthly to the so-called royal and loyal opposition parties in order to suffocate any potentially effective opposition to the Tutsi regime. You notice that every election season, they crisscross the country with sacks of stolen money, handing out cash, sugar, and soap to voters and call it democracy. But this, fellow Ugandans, is not democracy. It is outright corruption and deception. A nation which has been deliberately impoverished cannot develop when its leaders are gulping up what belongs to the people. Corruption kills a nation. It destroys development of any country and the maintaining of essential services such as hospitals, schools, roads, and other infrastructures. It robs the country of its future. So what must we do? First, we must speak without fear. Silence is the oxygen that sustains corruption. Every parent, teacher, youth, border rider, and a business person whose merchandise is overtaxed by the revenue authority must reject and condemn theft by government officials and agencies. Second, every Ugandan has a right to justice and a due process of law. Hence, every Ugandan must demand real accountability and undiluted justice, which covers anyone from a village house to the state house. The law must not stop at the gate of state house. Third, any person who aspires to become a public servant or political leader must rebuild one's moral integrity. He or she must be thoroughly vetted to find the best persons for offices of responsibilities, not any noise-making individual. That is the only way our country can have true leaders who are worth the title. Uganda cannot rise if her people, especially the leaders, have neither conscience nor integrity or human decency. We must teach our children that aspiring for quick gains is disastrous and counterproductive for the person and the country. We must honor and uphold honesty once again. We must reject dishonest people who say one thing today and say the opposite tomorrow. Fourth, when this regime is gone, we shall need to establish an anti-corruption commission that will report directly to the parliament. Whoever shall be convicted of corruption will face severe punishment according to the law. The Auditor General will be empowered to take action instead of merely reporting. All public officials, from the president to the sub-county chiefs, must declare their wealth and its source prior to taking office. Finally, we must remember that corruption survives only when the people tolerate it and all are afraid to reject and expose it. But Ugandans are no longer that naive. The tide is turning. A new generation is watching, questioning, and demanding better. Fellow citizens, the time has come to draw a moral line in the sand. Uganda is not poor. We have only been robbed. We now know the robbers and must make them answer for their crimes. 40 years of living under brutal and savage foreign invaders with their corruption is 40 years too many. Let us rise, reclaim our country, and restore its integrity, honesty, and accountability in public service. Without integrity, there can be no justice. Without justice, no peace. And without peace, no development. Let us use our brains and brawn together. With unity of purpose and action, we will build our country, Uganda. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless Uganda.